Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshutarani Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. So today we'll be having an overview of first canto and second canto, whatever possible. So this Bhagavatam is called as the body of the Lord. So Bhagavatam is compared with the body of the Lord. And this verse comes in Padma Puran, where it is very nicely described that how various parts of Krishna's body, they are compared with Srimad Bhagavatam. Padav yadiyo prathamo ditiyo. The lotus feet of the Lord, they are compared with the first and second canto. The third canto is compared with the calf. Fourth canto is compared with the thighs. Fifth canto is compared with the navel of the Lord. Sixth canto and seventh canto is compared to chest. And the 8th and 9th cantos are compared with the arms of the Lord. And the 10th canto is the beautiful lotus face. Tamadi Devam Karunanidhanam Tamalavarnam Suhitavataram Apara Samsara Samudra Setu Bhajamahe Bhagavata Swarupam. So this beautiful form of Lord, which is manifested in this world, is for the welfare and well-being of all the conditioned souls. That is the only reason for Bhagavatam to appear in this world. And we can see in this, the various parts of various cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, they are compared with various parts of the Lord's body. And there are 10 topics which are described in Srimad Bhagavatam. So it comes in the second canto, last chapter. So today we'll be going a little fast so that we can cover up the various things which are described here. So Bhagavatam is considered as the essence of all the topics. Tadasya kausharama sharma dhatu hare kathameva kathasu saram. It is the essence of all the various topics. It is the essence of all the scriptures which are there in this world. So therefore, today we'll be discussing the overview of all this first canto and second canto. Okay. So this first canto begins with the very famous verse written by Vyasadeva, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So in this verse, Krishna, Vyasadeva, he establishes who is being discussed in this Srimad Bhagavatam. And he describes that Supreme Lord is the primeval cause of everything. So this is the very, very famous verse which establishes our Sambandha Gyan. What is our relationship with the Supreme Lord? Who is that Supreme Lord? So first, this verse describes that he is the primeval cause of everything. He is Swarat, he is independent, and he is the one who gave knowledge to Brahmaji in his heart. And then he glorifies Srimad Bhagavatam. That is the process of Abhidheya. And this is a very famous verse which describes what is this Bhagavatam which we are reading, which we are hearing. So Bhagavatam is a person. It is not a book. It is a person. It is an offense if you consider Bhagavatam to be like an ordinary book. It's like if somebody tells that Matsya is the ordinary fish, Tulsi is the ordinary plant, Mathura is the ordinary place. It is as offensive as telling that Bhagavatam is a book. So Bhagavatam is a person, and Bhagavatam reciprocates according to the desires of a person. And then he establishes, after establishing Bhagavatam as the supremost literature, which is meant for establishing a relationship with the Lord, he glorifies, he advertises Bhagavatam. You have to advertise your product. So Vyasadeva is advertising his product, and he's telling that this is the ripened fruit of all the Vedic scriptures. So we'll recite few of the verses also. We'll recite this verse. Nigam kalpataror galitam phalam Shukumukadam ritravya samyutam Vipata bhagavatam rasamalayam Muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. So in this verse, Vyasdev is telling, drink this nectar. You don't have to eat it. Just drink this nectar. And after drinking, drink so much that you faint. Again get up, again drink, again faint. Muhuraho, keep on doing this. Because only a person who knows the essence, he can relish Bhagavatam. So after describing this glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, now Vyasdev, he sets the scene where this Bhagavatam is getting described. Naimishe animishe kshetre rishaya shaunakadaya satram sargaya lokaya sahasra samamasata. So this place is Naimisharanya. Many of you have been to Naimisharanya? No one. Only one. So Naimisharanya is still a very remote place. And at that place, all the sages, they assembled for the welfare of people in general. And they decided to do a sacrifice for 1,000 years. Sahasra samamasata. But, in the 18th chapter, they say, of the first canto, they say, what has happened? We are doing so much yajna, but only thing has happened is our faces have become black because of the smoke. Dhumra dhumratmanam bhavan. We are not finding the happiness. So they approach Suta Goswami and they tell, please do something. And they ask 6 questions to Suta Goswami. So the first question they ask, please describe what is the ultimate goal of all the Vedic scriptures. So Suta Goswami, when he was asked, okay, please describe. So he starts thinking, okay, I'll speak everything. So the sage says, no, don't speak everything. Please speak only the essence. What is the absolute and ultimate goal? And then please don't speak everything, because people in general, they are foolish. Jada sunayenge to next class mein aayenge nahi. So he says very famous verse. We'll recite. Prayanal paisha sabhya kalavasmin yuge janah manda samandamatayo mandabhagya hyupatrita. So he is describing our qualities, the qualities of people of Kaliyuga. They are having less lifespan. They are lazy, unintelligent, and always disturbed. So that is our qualification. So he's telling, don't describe everything. Please describe only the essence of all the scriptures. We don't want to hear all the Vedas because we have limited capacity. Just describe the essence of all the scriptures. So that is the second question. Third question he asks, why Krishna takes birth from the womb of Devaki? What is the purpose? And then he describes the Purusha avatar. He tells, please describe the Purusha avatars. What is the purpose of appearance of Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Shirodakshaya Vishnu? What is the purpose? And then he tells, please describe about the various avatars of the Lord also. And then they tell, please don't think we are, satisfied. Bahut ho gaya aaj ke liye. Abhi Mahaprasade Govinda bolenge. It says, Vayam tuna vitripyama uttama shloka vikrame yashrinvatam rasagyanam swado swado pade pade. Please keep on telling, just like we cannot read a newspaper which is a day old. Koi padhta hai, aaj naya nahi aaya, kal wala hi padh lete, no. But we can keep reading the same scripture every day, every year. So therefore, they are encouraging the speaker. Aap boliye, that is a reciprocation which should happen. So the hearer should be eager and the speaker should be bona fide. That's what Prabhupada writes. And then the last question they ask is, after Krishna disappeared from this planet, where dharma and jnana took shelter? So please tell all these things. So in response to these 6 questions, 3 chapters went by. So after hearing these 6 questions, Shaunakadi Rishi, sorry, Suta Goswami first offers respects to his spiritual master. Who is that? Suta Goswami. Shukdev Goswami, sorry. So he describes, now Suta Goswami speaking, that what is the qualification of Shukdev Goswami? He could make even tree speaks, And then he offers beautiful obeisances to Srila Shukdev Goswami. And then the famous prayers come. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. So before speaking about Bhagavatam, we should offer obeisances to these four people. Narayanam Namaskrityam, to Lord Narayan, who is the controller of this world, this universe. And Naram Chaiva, that is Nara Narayan Rishi. And then Devim Saraswati, who can allow us to speak. And then Vyasadeva, who wrote this Bhagavatam. And then after he hears the questions of the sages of Naimisharanya, he first of all glorifies the audience. Kya question pucha hai? Wonderful question you have asked. Because whenever Krishna Katha happens, three people they get benefited. The person who asks questions, person who answers, and others. Just like Ganga purifies the three worlds, the questions which are asked in Bhagavatam, they purify three types of people. Should I switch off this AC? So, Suta Goswami first glorifies. Munaya sadhu prishtoham bhavatbir loka mangalam yakrita krishna samprashno yena atma suprasidati. So we'll be reciting lots of verses so that you all get a habit of reciting also. Munaya sadhu prishtoham. What a question you have asked. Wonderful question. Why? Because it is for the welfare of all the people. Bhavadbhir lokamangalam. And these questions can only satisfy the heart. Just like Sanatana Goswami asks, Keami kene amar jare tapatray. Why I am suffering in this world? So after glorifying the audience, now Suta Goswami starts answering the first and second questions. So what is the first question? What is the absolute good for people in general? What is the essence of all the scriptures? So the answer of both these questions is bhakti. Bhakti is the ultimate goal for everyone, and bhakti is the essence of all the scriptures. So in response to that, he glorifies these beautiful prayers and will recite Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Ashu Vairakyam Jnanam Chayat Hetukam. So all of us have experienced how our lives have transformed after coming to Krishna consciousness. We have given up so many things. So Vairagya comes automatically when we practice bhakti. So that is what Suta Goswami is telling. Bhakti, when you practice bhakti, jnana and vairagya has to come. And then he describes the various stages of devotional service, starting from Shraddha. So first, devotee gives mercy to a person. So Satam Kripa, the mercy of the devotees, is the first thing which happens. And then based on that mercy, a devotee gets a desire to serve. And then Shraddha comes. And then Sadhu Sangha, Anartha Vritti, and the process continues. So the first step in devotional service is the association of devotees. Shushrusho Shraddhadhanasya Vasudeva Katharuchihi Syan Mahat Sevaya Viprah Punyatirtha Nishevanat Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimukte. When we serve pure devotees, the great devotees, then we get liberated. And the result of that is that all the contaminations of the heart, they go away. Tamas and Rajas, they go away. And one becomes happy. Evam prasanna manaso. And then the knot in the heart gets cut and one can achieve prema. So this is the first and second question answered. And then in response to the fourth question, he describes about the various Purusha avatars, how the Lord appears as Karanodakshai Vishnu, then Garbhodakshai, Shirodakshai. We'll discuss that when we go to the second canto. And then in response to the third question, first he answers fourth, and then he comes to the third. So we are going a little fast because we have to cover the whole canto. So the Lord appears only for one reason, to reclaim the fallen conditioned souls, to reclaim all of us. That is the only reason Lord appears in this world. He has no other reason to appear than this. And then he describes the various types of Leela avatars. So in the third chapter, now we are on third chapter. In the third chapter, the 22 incarnations of the Lord are described, various incarnations, starting from 4 Kumaras, Varahadev, Narad Muni, Nar Narayan Rishi, so many avatars are described. In that list, Krishna and Balram are also described. So somebody may say, oh, Krishna and Balram are also avatar. So to clarify that, Sut Goswami says, no, the avatars are unlimited, just like there are so many unlimited waves in the ocean, as many avatars are there. But there is a avatari, there is the source of all the avatars, that is Krishna. Ete chamshkala pumsaha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Vridayanti Yuge Yuge. Ete, all these incarnations which are described earlier, they are either Amsha or Kala. Amsha means plenary portions and Kala means portions of the plenary portions. Avatar hai ya avatar ke avatar hai, But Krishna is Bhagavan Swayam. And Jiva Goswami describes in detail this verse in his commentary on this Bhagavatam. So after describing this, Sudha Goswami glorifies Srimad Bhagavatam, that this Bhagavatam, because the sages, they are little curious. Oh, what is this scripture which you are telling us? Please tell us a little more. So Sudha Goswami says, this Bhagavatam, it is describing the glories of the Supreme Lord. It is compiled by Vyasadeva, and it glorifies Krishna in detail. And I heard this from my spiritual master. So that was the answer of the fifth question. And then he comes to the last. Where did Dharma and Gyan take shelter? Krishna Sodhamo Pagate Dharma Gyanadibhi Saha Kalau Nashta Drishamesha Puranarko Dhunoditaha. So Dharma and Gyan, when Krishna disappeared from this world, it comes in the 11th canto, whenever we reach there. So it describes in great detail what happened when Krishna went back. Dharma and Gyan went along with Krishna. But when Krishna went back to spiritual world, he found that, oh, people of Kaliyuga, they have lost their vision. So I have to give them vision. So therefore Bhagavatam appeared to give us light. Kalau nashta drisha, drishti nashta ho gayi. So Krishna appeared as Srimad Bhagavatam. So that was the answer of the 6 questions. So the third chapter ends here. Now so this is the last verse of the third chapter where the Brahmanas, so Sud Goswami says, oh Brahmanas, this Bhagavatam was recited by Shukadeva Goswami in the meeting with Pariksit Maharaj. So now natural question, what will come? Please tell us more about that meeting, So these are the 6 questions and 6 answers. Now the 4th chapter. So this 4th chapter, all the sages, they are asking, please tell us about history of Srimad Bhagavatam, when it was compiled, where it was compiled, why it was compiled, and how it was compiled. So this is one question about Bhagavatam. So when Bhagavatam comes, two people more are there, speaker and hearer. So then they ask about the speaker of Bhagavatam. Who is this speaker? Who is Shukdev Goswami? Tasya putro mahayogi samdrin nirvikalpakaha ekantmatirunnitro gudho mudha iveyate. So Shukdev Goswami, he was a liberated soul, Mahayogi. He was having equal vision. He was not ready to come out of the womb of his mother for 16 years. Krishna was brought by Vyasdev and then only he came out. So he was situated in monism. He had nothing to do with this world. And to such an extent that, when Shukdev Goswami, he took birth, he was scared of getting affected by Maya. So he walked off. And Vyasdev is running behind his son. Oh, son, please wait. And on the way, there are few ladies who are taking bath without any clothes. And they are young. And Shukdev Goswami is also 16 years old. But they don't care to even cover themselves because they know Shukdev Goswami is a liberated soul. He doesn't see male and female. He sees Atma. And Shukdev Goswami does not stay at one place for a long time. He stays only for the time cow is being milked. How he stayed for 7 days? We are confused about that. So Godohanam matram hi. Khali utne hi samay ke liye rehte hain. So how he stayed? And then please tell us about Pariksit. Abhimanyu sutam suta Rahur Bhagavatottamam Tasya Janma Mahascharyam Karmani cha Granihinaha. Please tell us about Pariksit Maharaj. His birth was glorious, his activities were glorious, and his death was glorious. So his activities are described. He was so powerful that all the kings, they would bow down in front of him. To such an extent, he defeated even Kali, personified. So the sages, Shaunakadi rishis, they asked these three questions: where Bhagavatam was compiled, when, how, and please tell us about Pariksit Maharaj, please tell us about Shukdev Goswami. So Sud Goswami starts. So Vyasdev, he was Trikalagya, he is an incarnation of Supreme Lord himself. He could see the anomalies of Kaliyuga, how people will be having very less lifespan, very disturbed, lazy, bhautikanam cha bhavanam, all that. So in response to these, he divided the Vedas into 4. Earlier, there was only one Veda. So he divided into 4. And then he wrote Puranas, Itihasas. But interestingly, how many of you have written an article in your life? None of you. One of you. Okay, few. It was easy. It takes lots of time to write an article, right? So Vyasdev, he wrote all the Vedas, Puranas, Itihas, Mahabharata, everything. But still, what happened to him? Dissatisfied. Evam pravrittasya sada bhutanam shreyasi dvijah sarvatmakenapi sada na tushyadridayam tataha. He's not satisfied. Na tushyat. I have followed everything, all the discipline, all the scriptural rules and injunctions I have followed, but still I am not satisfied. Tathapi batamedahiyo. Still I am lamenting. Why? This is very important. Whenever problem comes in life, we have to introspect. So Vyasdev is now introspecting. It is not that which problem I have to run to your seniors. Batao, save me. You have to introspect. So by introspecting, Vyasdev came to the same conclusion. Kim va bhagavata dharma na prayen nirupita tatha paramahamsanam priya paramahamsanam taeva hi yachyata priya. Is it that I have not explained Bhagavad Dharma, which is dear to Lord and dear to devotees? So he has come to right conclusion, but our conviction should be approved by the authorities. So therefore, he has come to right conclusion, but still he wants to make it, confirm. So as he's thinking like this, he's very serious and sincere. Krishna sends his disciple, his devotee, Narad Muni. So that's what happens. When we are really eager and sincere, then Krishna sends some of the devotees to help us. So Narad Muni, he comes and first he glorifies. Arey, what a beautiful composition you have done. Nobody has done in the history of the whole universe. Are you satisfied with that? He is sarcastically asking, Santusht hai? Are you happy? So Vyasdev admits, actually, I am not happy. But you can dispel my doubt. So Narad Muni, he says, okay, there are two doubts in this. First, you have not glorified Bhagavatam enough. You have not glorified Krishna enough. And you have glorified that which will bind a person in this world. Bhavatanudita prayam yasho bhagavato malam yenaivaso natushyeta manye tad darshanam khilam. That philosophy which does not glorify Krishna, it is a useless philosophy, worthless. And then he describes there are two types of literatures. There is a literature which is very dear to devotees, and there is a literature which is dear to non-devotees, which are like crows. So Radha Govind Maharaj says, what is news? Ye tha kachra aaj tak, intezar kariye kal tak. So that is news. Chaitanya Charitamrita says, what is news? Old things happening to new people. That is news. So people are interested in all the garbage of the world, but they will not hear Bhagavatam, which is glorified by the swan-like devotees. Krishna Jini Padmachand Pati Ache Mukufand Tate Adhar Madhu Smitachar Brajanari Yasi Yasi Phande Pade Hoye Dasi Chadi Laj Kapi Pati Gharadwar. So gopis, they were completely absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. And who are we? We are trying to become the servants of the gopis. Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayur Dasa Dasanu Dasa. So we have to try to absorb our mind in Srimad Bhagavatam. So you have to understand that Bhagavad Gita is for all the Indians. Sab log Bhagavad Gita jante hain. But if we call ourselves as Vaishnavas, we should know which literature? Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. If Bhagavatam is dear to us, then we are authorized to call ourselves as Vaishnavas. And then on top of that, we are not just Vaishnavas, we are trying to become Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So Gaudiya Vaishnava means we have to hear the pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is also very, very important. So Narad Muni, he condemns the work of Vyasadeva. He says, you have glorified Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. People are already absorbed in that. And what you have done, it is very, very, foolish thing. Jugupsitam, condemned. Spiritual master chastising his disciples so heavily. Any of you have, if you have submitted your Bhakti Shastri, open book assignments, any of you have done Bhakti Shastri? जिसने किया होगा भक्ति शास्त्री का ओपन बुक असाइनमेंट लिख के आप दें एंड दैट ये फालतू है दूसरा लाओ I have spent so many days and you are telling it is useless. So can you imagine Vyasadev written everything and Narad Muni is telling Jugupsitam dharma krite. People are already attracted to dharma, artha, kama, and you have given them one bona fide way. And then Narad Muni glorifies this bhakti process. It is so very great that anyone who takes to this process, he is never a loser. Anyone who takes to this process will be always protected by Krishna. And then he instructs Vyasadeva, please write Bhagavatam in detail. So Narad Muni, in response to that, he says, okay, I'll tell you an example of my own, how I was benefited by this Bhagavatam. I was a child of a maid servant, and one time the Bhaktivedantists, they came and they stayed at my place. My mother was engaged in serving them, and I got a chance to serve these Bhaktivedantists. Just by serving these devotees, all my sinful desires, they went away, and I became attracted to this process of bhakti. I went to the stage of ruchi by associating with devotees, serving devotees. And therefore, I developed few qualities. I was attached to these devotees. And then in due course of time, they left. And after this, Vyasdev, Narad Muni said, so please glorify Bhagavatam. So naturally, if somebody stops the story in between, so what will happen? Aage kya hua, to batao. After the devotees left, what happened to you? So Vyasdev, he asks further questions. What did you do after the departure of the sages? Please tell me. How did you live your life after initiation? How did you obtain this body? So in response to that, Narad Muni tells, okay, I was the only child of my mother. It is a pura filmy story. Ek maa, uska bachcha. Poor mother, she wants to give her child, but she cannot. And the child only has his mother. And that too, one day, as the mother is going in the forest to milk the cow, she is bitten by a serpent. She dies. And the child, rather than blaming the God, kyun kiya mere saath aisa? He says, tada tadahmishasya bhaktanam shammabhipsitaha anugraham manyamanaha pratishtam dishamuttaram. He considered it as mercy of the Lord and departed for the north. And then there he went through so many places, and ultimately he sat down under a banyan tree in meditation, and he saw the darshan of the Lord in his heart. For just few moments, Lord appeared and then he disappeared. Why? Because Lord said, you are not sufficiently purified, and I want to increase your desire to obtain me. Avipakya kashayanam durdarshoham kuyogina. I don't appear in front of those who are not completely purified. And then Narad Muni says, you know what I did after that? Namanyanantasya hata tapapathan guhyani bhadrani kritani cha smaran gamparyatam stushtamanagata spriha kalam pratikshan vimado vimatsara. I kept on chanting the holy names of the Lord, and I was waiting patiently for my time to come. That's what we have to do. Keep on serving, keep on chanting, and patiently wait for purification to happen. We cannot be impatient. Narad Muni had to wait for many, many years, even after getting darshan. So we have to wait for the time to come. And then in due course of time, Narad Muni, as a small boy, he left his body and attained the form of Narad Muni as a transcendental spaceman who keeps on singing the glories of the Lord on his transcendental veena called Devadatta. And therefore Narad Muni tells, please glorify Bhagavatam. And then Sudha Goswami glorifies Narad Muni. And then Shaunak Rishi asks, okay, what did Vyasdev do after Narad Muni left? So Vyasdev, Sudha Goswami continues the story. That one day, Sudha Goswami was sitting in meditation on the bank of Saraswati river, absorbed in Krishna. And in his meditation, he saw something very beautiful. Bhakti yogena manasi samyak pranihite male apashyat purusham purnam mayam chadadapashrayam. So his mind was absorbed in Krishna without any tinge of material contamination. he saw Krishna and he saw Maya Devi also. Whenever Krishna is there, Maya Devi has to be there. You have to just turn your face away from Krishna and Maya Devi standing. So he saw both. And he saw jivas, all the living entities who are troubled by all the miseries of the world. So Suta Goswami glorifies that Bhagavatam, which was compiled by Vyasdev. And then after this, he tells Vyasdev, after he compiled this Bhagavatam, he taught this to his son, Shukdev Goswami. So Shaunakadi rishis, they may question, Are, Sukdev Goswami was a liberated soul and he was Atmaram. Why he heard Bhagavatam? So Suta Goswami speaks this very beautiful words. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave 61 explanations to this verse. Atmaramascha munayo nirgrantha-pyurukrame kuruvantya hetu kim bhaktim ittham bhuta guno harihi. Even liberated souls are attracted by the pastimes of Krishna. So therefore, after glorifying Shukdev Goswami, he describes Pariksit Maharaj. And to describe Pariksit Maharaj, he has to start the story from Mahabharata. So he describes that, Ashwatthama, he shot an arrow, shot Brahmastra to kill the last son, last descendant of Pandavas. That was Pariksit Maharaj. So Arjuna, he took shelter of Krishna. And here Krishna enters first time in Bhagavatam. How Krishna enters in Bhagavad Gita? Sitting on the chariot as a chariot driver. In Bhagavatam also Krishna enters Bhagavatam as chariot driver, which is very, very different to what heroes enter. Movies mein dekha rahega na? All the villain, they are there and heroine is there, captured by them, and the hero comes in car. The screeching halt, and then the gate opens, and then first foot comes out, and the camera is focusing on the shoe. And then slowly, graphically, the camera moves up. That is how hero enters. But Krishna, the supreme hero, he is entering humbly as a chariot driver. And then Arjuna, he offers his prayers to Krishna. Oh Krishna, please save me. We are not able to understand from where this light and fire is coming. So Krishna tells, okay, this is the Brahmastra which is shot by Ashwatthama. Please send another Brahmas and retract both of them. So Arjuna, he retracted Brahmastras and then arrested Ashwatthama. He brought Ashwatthama in front of Draupadi, and Draupadi, what she says, leave him. The person who killed 5 sons of Draupadi, she's saying, leave him, because he's the son of our Guru. So many reasons. The fight happens between Pandavas. Bhima is saying, kill him. Draupadi is saying, leave him. So Krishna manifested 2 more arms to stop them. Either say Bhima Guru. You can see in this picture. And then ultimately everybody, so Krishna said, Arjuna, you have to please your Draupadi, you have to please Bhima, you have to please Yudhishthira Maharaj, you have to please me also. Do something now. Dharma Sankat. So Krishna, he passed the test. Everybody of us will be tested for 3 things. For our conviction in this philosophy, for our faith in Krishna's pastimes, and faith in devotional service. Chakravarti Thakur writes in the purport to this verse, Evam Parikshita Dharma. And then Draupadi, because she gave so many reasons, so ultimately Pandavas, Arjuna, he released Ashwatthama. And then Pandavas, they offered the water to all their relatives and then they departed. As they were departing, Krishna was going back to Dwaraka. Uttara comes running, Pahi Pahi Mahayogin, Devadeva Jagatpate, Nanyam Tad Abhayam Pashe, Yatra Mrityu Parasparam. Oh Mahayogi, oh Krishna, please save me. Let me die, but my child should survive. So Krishna immediately he enters the womb of Uttara and protects Pariksit Maharaj. And Pariksit Maharaj saw Krishna, which is described in the 12th chapter. So again he is leaving. Then again Kunti Maharani comes. And she starts offering beautiful prayers. Namasye Purusham Tvadyam Ishwaram Prakrite Param Alaksham Sarvabhutanam Antar Bahiravastitam. So she starts offering prayers to the Supreme Lord. Oh my Lord, you are the Supreme Lord and you have covered yourself with your Maya potency. Ordinary people cannot understand you. Only great devotees can understand you. Oh my Lord, you did not save the sons of Devaki, but you protected my sons because I was alone. I had no husband. Devaki had her husband. And we went through so many problems in life. But after counting all these problems, Kunti Maharani, what she's saying? Ordo. Vipada santuta shashvat tatra tatra jagadguru bhavato darshanam yat syad apunar bhavadarshanam. Oh Krishna, if problem comes, you will come to save us. And if you are there, then we will not have to take darshan of this world. So let my mind, my consciousness go towards you, just like Ganga goes towards ocean. Cut off all the knots with my friends and relatives, but let my mind be attached only to you. And then in this way, she ends the prayers by offering the beautiful this verse where she takes so many names of Krishna. And now again, Krishna is going back. Yudhishthir Maharaj, first Uttara came, then Kunti Maharani came, now Yudhishthir is coming. He is confused and bewildered. I have killed so many of the soldiers. I am responsible. That Krishna who convinced Arjuna, he could not convince Yudhishthir Maharaj. This section is going on in the Bhagavatam now, in our temple. Why? Because Krishna wanted to glorify Bhishma Dev. Krishnena Adbhut Karmana. What is the Adbhut Karma in this? Krishna, who is there as super soul in the heart of Yudhishthira Maharaj, he didn't allow him to hear the person Krishna who was standing in front. So Bhishma, he took all the Pandavas to, Krishna took all the Pandavas to Bhishma Dev. And Bhishma, he was so very happy to see all the Pandavas dressed in royal attire. That was his cherished desire. And then he starts telling, Aho kashtam aho nyayam yadiyuyam dharmanandana jivitam narhata klishtam vipradharma chutashraya. Oh, it is so very painful to see you Pandavas, you have suffered so much. Actually, you should not have survived all these, but because you have taken shelter of Krishna, Dharma, and the devotees, you all have survived. How all these things happened to you? You were protected by Krishna. You had Yudhishthir, Dharma personified. You had Arjuna, skill personified. You had Bhima, strength personified. But still you suffered. Why? It was all the will of time. And who is the time factor? Ye jo samne khade hai na, he is the time factor. Don't think time is somebody else. Eshavai Bhagavan Sakshat Adyo Narayana Puman Mohayan Mayaya Lokam Gudhasharati Vrishnishu. This personality who is standing in front, don't think he is your maternal cousin. He is the Supreme Lord. But still, he is so merciful. He has appeared in front of me when I am leaving my body. That is how Lord is so very great. And then he was about to offer beautiful prayers. Yudhishthira Maharaj comes and asks him, please enlighten me. So Bhishma Dev, he speaks so many chapters, in Mahabharata. It is a huge, section of Mahabharata. But Bhagavatam compiles all that huge section in just one verse. Dana dharman, Raj dharman, Moksha dharman, Vibhagashah, Stri dharman, Bhagavat dharman. So he described all these dharma, what is Dana, what is Raja dharma, and all that. And then as he was speaking, Bhishma Dev noticed that Uttarayan has come. And then he stopped speaking. He focused his mind on the Lord and he offered beautiful prayers. So these prayers are very beautiful prayers where he is remembering how Arjuna was enlightened by Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, how he fulfilled my desire. I wanted to see Krishna as Rathangapani. He fulfilled my desire. So let my attraction be always towards Krishna. And in the end of his prayers, he remembered gopis. It's like in the Damodarashtakam also, it ends with how? Everything should end with sweet. Madhuren samapayet. Namo radhikayai tvadiya priyayai. Namo nanta leelaya devaya tobhyam. So that's how he's remembering the gopis. And then he remembered how Krishna was worshipped in Rajasuya. And then he closed his eyes and attained samadhi. So after describing this, Shaunak Rishi, he asks about the rule of Yudhishthir Maharaj. So in response to that, Sut Goswami describes the rule of Yudhishthir Maharaj. And these devotees, these Pandavas, they were so very attached to Krishna that, after Yudhishthir Maharaj was pacified and Krishna was leaving Hastinapur, Pandavas, they were really lamenting, crying. Because even if devotees, they experience Krishna, they cannot leave Krishna. What to speak of Pandavas who were staying with Krishna? They were speaking, talking, eating, everything. Tasminyasta dhiya partha saheran viraham katham darshan sparsha sanlapa shayanasana bhojanai. They were doing everything with Krishna. You can imagine what type of separation they must be experiencing. So with very heavy heart, everybody is crying. Krishna departed. And the feelings of the residents of Hastinapur are described in the 10th chapter. So we are on 10th chapter now. And now in 11th chapter, Krishna enters Dwarka. So the feeling of separation at one place, feeling of sambhog, union at another place. So as Krishna entered Dwarka, he blew his conch shell, and all the residents of Dwarka, they came running, carrying all the gifts in their hands. They felt as if they have got their vision back. Raver deepam ivavrita. If the sun is not there, what is the use of eyes? And then they glorify the Lord in beautiful, beautiful prayers. Natasmate nath sadangri pankajam Virencha Vairencha Surendra Vanditam Parayanam Shemami Hechatam Paraha Nayatra Kalaha Prabhave Para Prabhu. Oh my Lord, you are worshipped by Virincha, Vairincha, Surendra, you are worshipped by Brahma, Shiva, Kumaras. And unless one takes your shelter, there is no welfare which can happen to that person. And you are our father, you are our mother, you are our everything. You are Mata, Surit, Pita. And we are feeling as if we have become Anath. Aap nahi hai, Anath ho gaye. Now we have become Sanath. Aho Sanatha Bhavatasma Yadvayam Trayvishtapalam Apidur Darshanam Premasmita Snigdha Nirikshananam Pashyema Rupam Tava Sarva Saubhagam. Even Devatas find difficult to have your darshan, my Lord. With your beautiful loving glances, with your beautiful smile, you are showering your mercy on all of us. How we will stay in separation from you? You always keep traveling. Sometimes you go to Vrindavan, sometimes Dwarka, sometimes, so many places, sometimes Hastinapur. If you are always stay away, how we will take your darshan? How we will have your beautiful darshan of smiling face? So in this way, they glorify Krishna, they offer their gifts to Krishna. And in response to that, Krishna, he smiled. In response to the prayers of Kunti, also Krishna smiled. So now Krishna entered Dwarka. And all the ladies of Dwarka, they went on the rooftops and they are showering flowers. Pushapji Purai. Rajamargam gate Krishne Dwarkayam Kulastriyaha Harmyani Aruruhur Vipra Tad Ikshana Mahotsavah. Seeing the Lord is a festival for the eyes. Yasyananam Makara Kundala Charu Karna Brajat Kapola Subhaga Savilas Hasam Nityotsavam na tatripo drishabhi pimantyo naryo narashamudita kupita nimesha. So when Krishna entered Mathura for the first time, all the ladies of Mathura, they are seeing the beauty of Krishna for the first time. With his beautiful shark-shaped earrings, smile and curly hair on the face. And they are completely overwhelmed. Nityotsavam, it was eternal festival for the eyes. So therefore all the residents of Dwarka, they were seeing Krishna every day. But still they were not satisfied. Na vitripyamaha. And then Krishna, he reciprocated with all the residents and then he entered the palaces of the queens, where queens were waiting very shyly, they were glancing and they sent their sons to embrace the Lord. And although Sud Goswami clarifies, don't think that the relationship of Krishna with the wives is like an ordinary man and woman relationship. Krishna is not attracted by the mundane beauty of these wives. He was attracted by the devotion of these queens. So after glorifying this, the 12th chapter, now what has happened? So the 4 questions of related to Bhagavatam, they were asked. History of Bhagavatam, activities of Pariksit, activities of Shukdev Goswami, how did the meeting take place? So as Sud Goswami began, he went on a detour. कभी-कभी होता है ना, speaker बोलते-बोलते कुछ और ही चला जाता है. So he went on a detour. He started describing how Kunti Maharani offered prayers, and then Bhishma, and then he went to Dwarka, and then Hastinapur. He came out of Hastinapur, entered Dwarka. So after hearing 5 chapters, the Shaunakadi Rishis, they remind, oh, pehle wala question reh gaya. Thoda wo batayenge. Please tell us about the birth of Parikshit. You didn't tell that. So in response to that, Sud Goswami again continues the same story. When Krishna entered the womb of Uttara, Pariksit Maharaj saw Krishna. Tat angushthamatram amalam spurata purata maulinam apipya darshanam shyamam taditavasa samachyutam. He saw Krishna he was having the size of thumb, only this small, having beautiful garments, having a kundal, kirita, helmet, and he was protected by Krishna. He remembered Krishna. And when he took birth, so many of the ceremonies took place. The astrologers were called and they glorified Parikshit. And they described this personality is not an ordinary personality. He's like Ikshvaku in maintaining religious principles. He's like Lord Ram. So many things are described about Parikshit Maharaj. And then the sages, they tell, why Parikshit Maharaj is named so? Because, when he came out, he was doing pariksha. Inko dekha kya? Inko dekha kya? He was examining, whom did I see in my womb, in the womb of my mother. So that's why evam saesha loke vikhyata parikshit ityatnuhu purvam drashtam anidhyan pariksheta. He was doing pariksha. So then, after describing the birth of Parikshit Maharaj, he describes what happened after that. For Parikshit Maharaj to rule, Yudhishthir had to retire. And before Yudhishthir retires, Dhritarashtra retires. So then Sud Goswami describes how Vidura, he comes back from pilgrimage, where in the pilgrimage he heard from Maitreya Muni for a long time. That is entire 3rd canto or 4th canto. So as he returned back, Maharaj Yudhishthira, he was so very happy. He welcomed Vidura. He glorified Vidura. And this famous verse comes. Bhavat Vidha Bhagavata Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibho Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani Swantasthena Gadabhrita. You are the place of pilgrimage personified because you have Krishna in your heart. You make pilgrimage place into pilgrimage place. So he glorifies Vidura and he tells, you travel just for the welfare of people in general. So hearing all these things, Vidura, he goes to Dhritarashtra and he gives him heavy chastisement. Already you are blind. Now you have become deaf also. You cannot eat anything. Whenever you breathe, all the sounds, all the ragas are coming out. Still you are not leaving your palace. Andha purayo vadhiro manda pragyascha sampratam. Vishirna danta, your teeth have fallen. You should have renounced this kingdom long back. At least do it now. So hearing beautiful instructions of Vidura, Dhritarashtra, he understands. He leaves along with Gandhari. Vidura also leaves. And again, Yudhishthira Maharaj is thinking, I am the responsible. He starts condemning himself. Then again, Narad Muni comes, again pacifies. And then he tells, what will happen to Dhritarashtra? He will do Samadhi, Ashtanga Yoga, and then he will merge in Brahman. I will go and bring back Gandhari. She will also enter the fire. At least I'll go and bring Vidura. He has also gone to, Himalayas. So don't worry, just do your duties properly. So Yudhishthira was satisfied. So as Yudhishthira is ruling, suddenly he starts seeing all the ill omens. So many things start happening in the city which had not happened earlier. His left side of the body starts trembling. Jackals are howling and they are, as if they're vomiting fire. Dogs are barking, birds. So many things are happening. So he starts becoming confused and fearful. What has happened? Arjuna went to Dwarka. He didn't return so far. 7 months have passed. What happened? He's thinking. And then as he's thinking all these things, Arjuna returns. This entire 14th chapter is full of speculative inquiries of Yudhishthira Maharaj. क्या हो गया? ऐसा हुआ, वैसा हुआ, क्या हो सकता है? Yudhishthira is so very intelligent. He understood. Krishna must have departed. His head understood, his heart was not ready to accept it. So therefore, he's asking so many questions. What happened to Arjuna? Is your health all right? Did you not treat superiors properly? And after asking so many questions, ultimately he had to speak. Is Krishna there or has he left? So Arjuna, when he hears this, he tells, Vanchitoham Maharaja Harina Bandhurupina Yena me paritam tejo Deva Vismapanam Mahan. O king, I have become bereft of the Supreme Personality. I could bewilder even Devatas by my power, but now I have become bereft of that power. The same power with which I defeated the kings, I defeated in all the Nivata Kavachas, demons. I could not defeat ordinary cowherd men. So he's lamenting. So now it is 7. Is it okay if I continue and end this canto in 15-20 minutes? So he's recalling how Lord, he has, bestowed so many favors. Even while Draupadi in Draupadi's Swayamvar, Krishna did not do anything, but still Arjuna knows whatever I have done, it is by the mercy of the Lord. By his mercy, I could defeat, the demons. I could win over Khandava forest. I could even astound Lord Shiva. And then he's remembering, oh, I spent such nice time with Krishna. Narmyani udara ruchira smita shobitani. He Partha, he Arjuna Sakhe Kurunandaneti. Sanjalpitani Naradevardi Sprishani. Smartul Thantiridayam Mama Madhavasya. O king, sometimes I would speak gently and in a pleasing way to Krishna. Sometimes I would joke with him. Oh Krishna, oh Madhav. And now all these things I'm remembering, I'm really bewildered. I was sitting, I was dining, eating, roaming around, everything I was doing with Krishna. Now I have become bereft. This is my same Gandiva, same chariot, same charioteer, same horses. Still, I could not do anything. Everything has become vain. But you know how I am taking solace? Deshakalartha yuktani, ritta popa shamani cha, haranti smarataschitam, govinda bhitani me. So when Arjuna was bewildered and lost, he remembered the instructions of Bhagavad Gita. So the sound vibration of Krishna is not different than Krishna. So therefore, Arjuna, he was pacified when he remembered the instructions. Gita Bhagavata Jnanam Yattat Sangrama Murtini. Whatever knowledge Krishna spoke to me in battlefield, I am remembering that. So then, Yudhishthira Maharaj, he understood, okay, Krishna has left. He ruled only for 35 years. After winning the whole battle, so many millions of soldiers were killed, he ruled only for 35 years. And then Krishna departed. He also made plans for retirement. Now, very interesting thing comes up. He didn't consult Draupadi. Abhi chalo hum log jate hain. We'll take renunciation. We'll take Vanprastha. No, he didn't tell Bhima, Arjuna, Nakul, Sadev. On his own, he left. And even Bhima, he left. Arjuna left. Nobody consulted each other. Even Draupadi. Nobody told Draupadi, we are going. Prabhupada writes a brilliant statement. Draupadi herself makes the decision. Okay, I have to go. Prabhupada writes a very brilliant statement in the purport. He says, everybody has to fly his own plane. In the ultimate end, I'll just read. When flying an airplane, one cannot take care of other planes. Everyone has to take care of his own plane. And if there is any danger, no other plane can help other in that condition. It's a very interesting statement. At the end of the life, when one has to go back to the spiritual world, everyone has to take care of himself. Spiritual master, father, mother, relatives, husbands, others. They can render all the help during one's lifetime. But while crossing the sea, one has to take care of himself. Nobody will come to help. All the devotees will be chanting, standing, but yaad kisko karna hai? We have to remember. So nobody will remember for us. So Draupadi, she had 5 husbands. None of them asked Draupadi, chalo. So all of them left. They made Pariksit as the king. And then Pariksit was ruling very nicely. One day he saw some anomalies in his kingdom. And he prepared his forces and he went and conquered the entire Bhumandal. Not just India, not just world, entire Bhumandal. Wherever he went, he heard the glories of Pandavas. Saratya Parishad Sevana Sakya Dautya Virasananugamana Stavana Pranaman Snigdeshu Pandushu Jagat Pranatim Cha Vishnu Bhaktim Karoti Nipatis Charanaravinde. So everywhere, all the citizens were telling, oh, Pandavas were so glorious. Krishna became their chariot driver, messenger, servant, protector, everything. Why Snigdeshu? Because Pandavas were malleable to the will of Krishna. Krishna was malleable to the will of Pandavas. So then as he was roaming, he saw at one place, a low-class person dressed as a king. he was beating cow and the bull. And the dharma was bull personified. So dharma personified was bull. He was having conversation with Mother Earth. Mother Earth, as a cow, she was lamenting. So he's asking, why are you lamenting? Are you lamenting for my condition? So many things he asks. So Mother Earth says, because Krishna has disappeared from this earth, what else can we expect? When Krishna was there, he could control the temperamental queens like Satyabhama with his loving smile and gentle glances. But now he has disappeared. How can I bear separation from Krishna? The person who gets the association most, he suffers the most. Who was the one who got the maximum association of Krishna when he was there on this earth? Mother Earth. Because Krishna was walking, always in touch with Mother Earth. So she is lamenting. So as they are discussing, Pariksit Maharaj, he comes and he understands, oh, this Shudra, he is responsible. So he asks Bull, the Dharma personified, please tell me who has done this to you. Dharma says, I don't know. So the person is standing right in front. He says, no, I don't know. Some people say karma is responsible. Some people say it is Daiva. So you decide yourself. So Parikshit Maharaj could understand he is Dharma personified. Nobody else can speak like this. Dharmam bravishi dharmagya. You are Dharma personified. You only can speak like this. And in this way, he raises his sword and he was about to cut off the head of this Shudra, the Kali personified. So Kali personified surrenders. And if somebody surrenders, then the king cannot kill him. He tells, please give me some place to stay. So Parikshit Maharaj gave 4 places. Dyutam, Panam, Striya, Sunam. Wherever these 4 things are happening, meat eating, intoxication, gambling, illicit sex, you stay there. क्या मजाक कर रहे हैं? ये 4 चीजें होती नहीं आपके kingdom में, These 4 things are not happening in your kingdom. Please give me some place. So he gives 5th place. That wherever excess accumulation of gold is there, you stay there. So in this way, Sudha Goswami describes. And then one interesting thing Sudha Goswami tells, Parikshit Maharaj was not envious of Kali because he knew that Kaliyuga has a wonderful thing. Nanudveshti Kalim Samrat Saranga Iva Sarabho Kushalanyashu Siddhyanti Netarani Kritaniya. So Parikshit Maharaj was not envious of Kali. Why? Because he knew there is a good thing in Kaliyuga. If you do something, if you think something wrong in previous yugas, you would get a reaction. In Kaliyuga, unless you do it, you don't get the reaction. So therefore, Parikshit Maharaj, he gave mercy to Kali personified. And then one day he was roaming around and he was thirsty by the will of the Lord. He became thirsty. He went to the forest, the hermitage of Shamik Rishi. He was absorbed in meditation. He didn't even notice that Parikshit Maharaj has come. So by the will of the Lord, inconceivable will of the Lord, Parikshit Maharaj, he took a dead snake and put it around the shoulders of Shamik Rishi and left. Son of Shamik Rishi, Shringi, when he came to know, he became so angry. He said, how could this wretched personality, he thinks himself to be the king, he's like a dog. How can a dog enter the home? He entered the home, the hermitage of my father, and he cursed. He will die in 7 days. So when Shamik Rishi, he came to know this, he lamented. He told, you have done a great mistake, my son. How can you curse the supreme king, the king of the entire Bhumandal? He is the protector of Dharma. And on the other hand, Parikshit Maharaj, he is regretting his action. Oh, how could I do this? And as he is regretting, Shamik Rishi, he sends his disciple, Gaur Mukh, to tell Parikshit Maharaj that you are going to die in 7 days, please prepare. And the news was conveyed with such, sadness and such regret, Pariksit Maharaj did not go and ask forgiveness from Shami Krishna, because he was thinking already he's so embarrassed. If I'll go and ask forgiveness, he'll become more embarrassed. So I'll just accept it. So he renounces his kingdom, makes Janmejaya as the king, and he goes to the bank of Ganga. And as he went, he was not an ordinary person, ordinary PM of the state of the country. He was the king of Bhumandal. Who is who of the entire universe started coming there. Atri, Vashisht, Chavan, Ashtanemi, Bhrigur, Angira, Parashar, all the big sages we have heard about. Everybody came there. And then Shukdev Pariksit Maharaj, he starts offering beautiful prayers. Tasyeva meghasya paravaresho vyasakta chittasya grihesho bhikshnam nirveda mulo dvijashaparupo yatra prasakto bhayamashu dhatte. Now Parikshit is not complaining, "Are kyun kiya mere saath aisa Bhagwan?" He's telling, I was so sinful, I was attached to my family life. To cut off my family attachments, Krishna has come in the form of the curse of this Brahmana boy. And whatever may happen, O sages, you please continue singing Dashattolam Gayat Vishnu Gatha. If I have to come back again in this world, I want 3 benedictions. Please give me intense attachment for the Supreme Lord. Please give me association of devotees, and please give me intense compassion for all living entities. So Parikshit Maharaj said, I have decided to fast till death. For 7 days, I'll not eat anything, I'll not drink. You please keep on reciting the glories of Krishna. So all the sages, they approved. Whatever you have done is wonderful. And then he asks 3 questions to all the sages. What is the duty of everyone in all circumstances? And what is the duty of one who is about to die? So these 2 questions he asks. And then as he asks these questions, there are so many sages who are sitting. They cannot come to a conclusion. Kya karna hai? What is the duty of a person who is about to die? So as they are thinking, they are discussing, they look at the path. Because they are inspired by the Lord that Shukdev Goswami is coming. So they start looking at the path. And then Shukdev Goswami comes. And Tatra Bhavat Bhagavan Vyas Putro. So as Shukdev Goswami, because he was naked, he was surrounded by so many of the children and some village ladies who were making fun of him. But when Shukdev Goswami entered the assembly, all the big people, they stood up. So they understood, ye koi bada aadmi lagta hai. So they left, they departed. And then Parikshit Maharaj, he offered prayers, offered respects to Shukdev Goswami. He says, today I have become purified. I have become successful. My life has become successful because I am taking your darshan. Because yesham samsmaranat pumsam sadhya shuddhanti vaigriha Kim Punardarshan Sparsha Padashauchashanadivi. Just by remembering the great devotees like you, one becomes purified. What to speak of if one gets the darshan of the devotees? What to speak of if one can touch the devotees? So he glorifies and he tells, why you have come? Not because I am great, because my grandfathers, they were great devotees. And I am related to my grandfathers. That's why Krishna has sent you. Apite Bhagavan Prita. Krishna Pandu Sutapriyaha. Paitra Swaseya Prityartham. Tadgotra Syata Bandhavaha. Because Krishna was very, very dear to the sons of Pandu. Therefore, he has sent you, my Lord. So therefore, I am asking you, please tell me, what is the duty of a person who is about to die? He asks the same questions again. And then he asks 2 more questions. What one should hear, chant and remember, and what one should not hear, not chant and not remember. So please tell me about all this, because by the inconceivable will of the providence you have come. You don't stay at one place more than the cow is being milked, and you have come here. So please tell me, I want to hear. So that is the end of the first canto. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anybody has any questions? So next time we'll do second canto, and then we'll start. Yeah. No, I'll do the overview of 8 chapters. Okay. Okay, so there are no questions, I think. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.